stop what you're doing, because what you're about to hear will either unlock the next level of your life, or you'll ignore it and stay stuck in a loop of weakness, disappointment, and frustration for the next decade. A few days ago, I watched a man lower himself to please people who didn't even respect him. He smiled when they insulted him. He apologized for having standards. He explained himself to people who were never going to understand him and never planned to. And the truth is, this man isn't rare. He's everywhere. Maybe he's your friend, maybe he's your boss, or maybe he's you. Maybe you've been told that being nice, agreeable, and humble will get you ahead. Maybe you've been taught to earn validation instead of commanding respect. Maybe you've spent years avoiding conflict, only to find yourself surrounded by people who walk all over you. But here's the reality. You're not weak because you were born that way. You were trained to be weak. You were programmed to be passive, predictable, and polite, and the people who programmed you benefit from your weakness. But 5 centuries ago, a man figured out the rules they never wanted you to see. The actual, unfiltered, brutal truths of how power really works. His name? Machiavelli. And he didn't just write a book, he wrote a manual for becoming untouchable. This video is about the laws he hinted at but never fully revealed. The ones that make kings unbreakable, leaders unshakable, and men unforgettable. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 7 hidden power laws that separate the weak from the respected, the expendable from the untouchable. But be warned, once you learn them, you'll never see people the same way again. You'll start spotting manipulation before it happens. You'll see weakness in places you once saw strength. And you'll become someone that people stop trying to test because they know they'll lose. If you're tired of being overlooked, interrupted, doubted, or dismissed, this is your moment. Drop this in the comments if you're ready. I will not be ignored. I will become untouchable. They believe that if they just explain themselves well enough, if they're nice enough, if they're reasonable enough, people will treat them fairly. But that's not how power works. That's how weakness gets packaged and sold to the masses. Here's the truth. If you don't understand the laws that govern power, influence, and perception, you're not just vulnerable, you're exposed. People will test you constantly. They'll disrespect you subtly. They'll manipulate you silently. And you won't even realize it until you've lost something. Your time, your energy, your confidence, your place. It's not your fault. You weren't given the real rules. Society hands you fairy tales, not strategies. But while you're living by feel-good quotes, the people in power are operating on principles Machiavelli hinted at centuries ago, the ones designed to protect your influence, your mind, and your control. Ignore these laws, and you'll keep attracting betrayal, misunderstanding, and disrespect. But master them, and you'll become untouchable. The kind of man no one dares to interrupt. The kind of presence that makes people sit up straighter when you enter a room. The kind of force that can't be manipulated, broken, or ignored. These laws aren't optional anymore. In a world built on optics, perception, and silent power struggles, not knowing them is a threat to your survival. Are you ready to stop losing quietly and start winning strategically? Number 1. There's a reason empires build walls, not to keep people in, but to keep threats out. Your mind needs the same. Defense. Right now, your thoughts are vulnerable. Every insult lingers. Every rejection haunts you. Every passive-aggressive comment takes root and grows into self-doubt. You are letting intruders walk into your mind like it's a public space. That ends now. To become untouchable, you must build a fortress mind, one that doesn't react emotionally, one that filters before feeling, one that doesn't crack under pressure. When someone disrespects you, the average man gets offended. You don't. You assess. When someone tries to manipulate you, the predictable man gets defensive. You don't. You observe. When someone disappoints you, the emotional man collapses. You don't. You file it away as data and adapt. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. Your emotions are no longer your steering wheel. They are your sensors. They alert you, but they don't drive you. Machiavelli once said, "A wise man acts in the present, shaping the future." That's what you're doing now. Because while others are pulled by feelings, you're building strategy. While they argue to defend their ego, you remain quiet and gather information. While they panic, you calculate. A fortress mind doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you control everything. You don't get dragged into battles that don't serve your mission. You don't let strangers have free rent in your head. You don't let one bad moment unravel the entire day. You become mentally untouchable not by ignoring reality, but by responding with strategy. Start noticing the difference between emotional noise and useful signals. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves a response. Not every emotion deserves expression. From today forward, you treat your thoughts like royal property. You guard them, you train them, you weaponize them. Because in the game of power, the man who owns his mind owns everything else. Number 2. Loud men want to be heard. Powerful men make people listen without speaking. You've been taught to explain yourself, to justify your boundaries, defend your decisions, and seek approval before acting. But here's the untouchable truth. The more you explain, the less powerful you appear. Machiavelli understood this long before social media, long before comment sections and digital oversharing. He wrote, "The lion does not need to roar to be respected." When you start practicing strategic silence, everything changes. People start second-guessing themselves. They pause before crossing your line. They feel your presence more than your words. The insecure man fills the room with noise. The untouchable man fills the room with weight. You're going to train yourself to be silent, not out of fear, but out of control. You'll stop explaining your no. You'll stop justifying your pace. You'll stop defending decisions that don't need defending. When someone asks, "Why are you being like this?" you answer with calm silence and steady eyes. That silence? That's power. Why? Because silence puts the burden back on them. It forces others to reflect instead of react. It removes fuel from every fire. Silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictable men, they make others nervous. But here's the key. When you do speak, it has to cut. Because you're so selective with your words, every sentence you drop carries weight. No filler, no fluff. Just facts, impact, truth. Start now. When someone disrespects you, don't debate distance. When someone pushes a boundary, don't lecture in force. When someone demands attention, don't give them a show, give them stillness. Silence is not weakness, it is weaponized control. Let others be loud. Let them seek attention, validation, and applause. You're building something else, a presence so stable, it makes people nervous without you saying a word. Number 3. Here's a law most men never learn. Every setback is a strategy in disguise if you know how to read it. Most people get crushed by betrayal. They take it personally. They spiral. They replay conversations. They question their worth. They wonder, how could they do this to me? But the untouchable man, he doesn't ask why it happened. He asks what it revealed. You were disappointed? Good. Now you know where the cracks are. You were betrayed? Excellent. Now you know who never gets a second chance. You were underestimated? Perfect. Now you move in silence and strike when it counts. Machiavelli warned us, men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. That's not pessimism, that's power. Because the man who expects betrayal cannot be broken by it. You must stop being surprised when people choose comfort over loyalty, money over morality, or ego over you. Disappointment becomes devastating when it's unexpected, but when you expect it, it becomes data. It becomes leverage. It becomes power. From now on, every betrayal becomes a blueprint. The person who lied, you now see what they hide. The person who vanished, you now understand their loyalty was rented. The person who failed you, you now know not to build with broken tools. And sometimes the smartest move isn't revenge, it's removal. No dramatic confrontation, no second chances, no drawn-out explanations, just silence, absence, distance, because nothing confuses a betrayer more than your indifference. You are done proving your worth to people who couldn't recognize value if it was written across your forehead. You are done giving the benefit of the doubt to those who've already shown you who they are. You are done letting disappointment break you. From now on, it builds you. Disappointment is not weakness. It's your graduation from naivety to strategic vision. So when life cuts you, don't bleed blueprint, don't react record, don't collapse calculate. Number 4. The untouchable man knows something the average man ignores. You are perceived before you are understood, and in power, perception is reality. In the first 7 seconds, people decide how to treat you, whether to test you, respect you, or forget you, not based on what you say, but on how you enter, how you look, how you hold space, how you carry weight without speaking a word. That's why average men chase influence with words, but the untouchable man builds it with image. Your appearance, energy, posture, and tone are weapons. And Machiavelli knew it. He said, "Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of understanding." Translation? They don't care who you really are. They care who they think you are. So don't leave that to chance. Craft it, control it, shape it. Walk like you know exactly where you're going, and nothing can stop you. Speak like every word costs you money, and only truth is worth saying. Dress like your reputation arrives before you do, and stays after you leave. Look people in the eye like you already know their game, and you're not playing it. Here's the difference between a man who blends in and a man who commands attention. Intentional presence. The untouchable man never apologizes for his energy. He doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. He doesn't over-explain to make others approve. He lets the room adjust to him. Want real power? Don't just speak with authority. Walk, stand, and exist with it. And when someone questions your value, let your consistency answer. Let your reputation respond. Let your image do the talking. Start crafting the legend now. Control the story people tell about you, especially when you're not there. Because if you don't define who you are, they will. And you'll spend your life trying to rewrite a story that should have been yours from the start. Number 5. Most people treat discipline like a tool, something to pick up when they feel like it, when motivation is high, when life is convenient. But that's why most people are forgettable. Untouchable men don't use discipline like a tool, they wear it like armor. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune favors the disciplined." Why? Because discipline builds something no critic can tear down: credibility. When you say you'll do something and you do it, your self-respect increases. When you show up early, finish the hard task first, and push through when no one's watching you, separate yourself. And when your habits are stronger than your moods, that's when you become dangerous. Most men break under pressure because they were never training when things were easy. They rested when they should have been building. They made exceptions when they should have been making examples. But not you. Not anymore. From now on, your invisible moments are your battleground. Getting up early, when no one cares. Staying focused when distractions scream for attention. keeping promises to yourself when nobody's there to applaud it. Because that's the version of you that can't be shaken even when the world is. The untouchable man doesn't need motivation. He doesn't wait for perfect timing. He doesn't depend on pressure to act. He moves because it's who he is, disciplined, focused, built for war. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about alignment. It's about choosing your future self over your present feelings. It's about being so consistent, so prepared, so stable, that even chaos bows in your presence. So when life throws a storm, you don't flinch. You've trained for it. You've rehearsed every hard decision in silence. And now, when it matters most, you move without hesitation. Number 6. Every time you explain yourself to someone who questions your worth, you give them authority they never earned. Every time you defend your boundaries to someone who's already violated them, you teach them that those boundaries are negotiable. This is how power leaks. And most men, they leak constantly through apologies they didn't owe, justifications nobody asked for, and over-explaining to people who were never really listening. But the untouchable man, he doesn't ask for respect, he assumes it. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose." Why? Because fear is built on perception, and perception is yours to control. When you over-explain, you lower yourself. When you justify, you imply guilt. When you try to be understood by people who aren't capable of understanding, you waste your breath and drain your presence. Let this sink in. Power doesn't beg. Power doesn't chase. Power doesn't explain. From now on, explanations are a luxury reserved only for those who have earned your clarity through loyalty, consistency, and respect. Everyone else? They get the version of you that acts, enforces, and moves forward without delay and without debate. When someone says, "I don't understand why you're doing this," let them stay confused. When someone demands a reason for your standards, don't deliver one, enforce them. Let them think you're cold. Let them think you're arrogant. Let them project. They'll either learn to respect your silence or remove themselves from your life. Either way, you win. Because power isn't about being understood. It's about being unshakable, undeniable, and unavailable to nonsense. Number 7. There's a level of power most men never reach, not because it's unreachable, but because it's uncomfortable. It's the level where you stop needing people to approve you, where you stop adjusting yourself to be liked, where you stop chasing validation because you validate yourself. This is where you become truly untouchable. It doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop depending on them. You still love, but you don't need to be loved to feel worthy. You still give, but you don't give to be accepted. You still connect, but not at the cost of your power, your peace, or your identity. Most people can't understand this, so they'll call you cold, they'll call you arrogant, they'll call you selfish. Let them. Because untouchable isn't about being liked, it's about being respected. Machiavelli wrote, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." And that's exactly what this law is about. Self-mastery. You no longer react to petty provocations. You don't rise to meaningless challenges. You don't participate in games that distract from your mission. You've outgrown the need to be understood by people operating at a lower frequency. Here's what happens when you embrace this law. People test you, and you remain calm. People doubt you, and you keep building. People try to manipulate you, and you don't even blink, because your focus is too sharp, your presence is too stable, your foundation is too deep. You've mastered your mind. You've mastered your discipline. You've mastered your silence. And now, you've mastered yourself. This is what becoming untouchable really means. You're unshakable under pressure. You're unbothered by opinions. You're unmatched in presence. You move without permission, and succeed without apology. Drop this in the comments if you feel the shift. I don't need validation. I am the proof.